Hello everyone. It's always intriguing to know that mankind has been on Earth for millions and millions of years now. Our blue planet is also itself around 4.54 billion years old. Having said that, some of its resources like coal, petroleum, and natural gas are formed after millions of years of a natural process, which is further extracted from the earth by mankind for a personal usage and application. In this session, we'll be talking and learning about petroleum. This session includes about OPEC, location, wildcators, platform, refinery, filling up, oil spill, supply and demand, biofuel, producers and consumers, petrochemicals, refining and byproducts, constituents, few questions discussion, fun and interesting facts, advantages and disadvantages. So first, let's start with what is petroleum. Petroleum is also called crude oil, which is a fossil fuel. Like coal and natural gas, petroleum was formed from the remains of ancient marine organisms such as plants, algae, and bacteria. Over millions of years of intense heat and pressure, these organic remains fossils transformed into carbon-rich substances. We rely on its raw materials for fuel and a wide variety of products. Oil reserves. Oil reserves are reservoirs of petroleum trapped by rock deep beneath the earth. Oil reserves are found all over the world and measured in barrels, BBL. A barrel of oil is about 100 to 200 liters, which is about 26 to 53 gallons. OPEC. Most of the nations with the largest oil reserves belong to the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, which is called as OPEC. According to OPEC, more than 80% of the world's proven oil reserves are located in OPEC member countries, with the bulk of OPEC oil reserves in the Middle East. Oil location. Engineers use sophisticated equipment, including satellites, to find potential oil reserves beneath the earth or the ocean. Wildcators. Do you know what is wildcators? Wildcating is the risky practice of drilling for petroleum in an area where there are no proven oil reserves. Some of the most famous wildcat operations took place around the turn of the 20th century in rural California above, where enormous oil reserves were discovered and working class miners became multimillionaires. Oil platform. Offshore petroleum is extracted by an even more complex apparatus known as oil platform. Oil platforms like this one in Alaska's Cook Inlet are some of the largest man-made structures in the world. Oil refinery. Refining petroleum is the process of converting crude oil into more useful products, such as fuel for asphalt. Refineries remove impurities such as sulfur and sand from petroleum. This refinery in the province of Alberta, Canada, presses oil from the region's tar sands. Filling up. Although people have used petroleum for lighting and heating for thousands of years, it did not become a major fuel source until the Industrial Revolution. Later, the automobile culture of the 20th century demanded this relatively cheap and easily extracted fuel. Oil spill. Extracting petroleum is one of the most environmentally hazardous processes in the world. Oil spills can pollute land and aquatic systems for decades. This hermit crab, barely visible in the thick oil coating the Gulf of Mexico, was a victim of the disastrous 2010 Deepwater Horizon oil spill. Supply and demand. Although the environmental and health related risks of burning fuel are well known, developed and developing nations are unlikely to decrease demand for the petroleum. Biofuel. New technologies such as solar and wind energy are being developed as supplements to the petroleum industry. These technologies would ease our reliance on petroleum, which is a non-renewable resource. The car, for instance, which we have seen in the last slide, runs on biofuel. This is made from the corn and grasses. Leading petroleum producers. Saudi Arabia, Russia, United States, Iran, China, Iraq, Qatar. Other major producers are Venezuela and Algeria. Leading petroleum consumers. United States, China, Japan, India, Saudi Arabia. Leading producers in India are Digboy in Assam, Bombay High in Mumbai, and the deltas of Krishna and Godavari rivers. Do you know how petroleum is formed? Millions of years ago, algae and plants lived in shallow seas. After dying and sinking to the sea floor, the organic material mixed with the other sediments and was buried. Over millions of years under the high pressure and high temperature, the remains of these organisms transformed into what we know today as fossil fuels. Coal, natural gas, petroleum are all fossil fuels that form under similar conditions. Today, petroleum is found in vast underground reservoirs where ancient seas were located. Petroleum reservoirs can be found beneath land or the ocean floor. Their crude oil is extracted with giant drilling machines. Crude oil is usually black or dark brown, but it can also be in yellowish, reddish, tan, or even greenish. Variations in color indicate the distinct chemical composition of different supplies of crude oil. Petroleum that has few metals or sulfur, for instance, tends to be lighter, sometimes nearly clear. Petroleum is used to make gasoline, which is an important product in our everyday lives. It's also processed and part of thousands of different items, including tires, refrigerators, life jackets, and anesthetics. Do you know what is anesthetics? Anesthetics are nothing but the painkiller. When petroleum products such as gasoline are burned for energy, they release toxic gases and high amounts of carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas. Carbon helps regulate the Earth's atmospheric temperature, and adding to the natural balance by burning fossil fuels adversely affects the climate. There are huge quantities of petroleum found under Earth's surface and in tar pits that bubble to the surface. Petroleum even exists far below the deepest wells that are developed to extract it. However, petroleum, like coal and natural gas, is a non renewable source of energy. It took millions of years to form it, and when it is extracted and consumed, there is no way for us to replace it. Oil supplies will run out. Eventually, the world will reach peak oil or its highest production level. Some experts predict peak oil could come soon as 2050. Finding alternatives to petroleum is crucial to global energy use, and this is a focus of many industries. Major producers are in Middle East, the Americas, and Russia. It is the most important world fuel source. It supplies 38% of the world's energy and is also used to make petrochemicals. Do you know what is a petrochemical? Petrochemicals are nothing but the alcohols, antiseptics, artificial rubber, detergents, drugs, explosives, food additives, insecticides, perfumes, plastics, and textile fibers. Petroleum resource is limited and non-renewable. Some believe it will run out within 70 years after peak oil early in 21st century. Do you know what is the refining of petroleum? In a petroleum refinery, the method of extracting different constituents of petroleum is called refining. This process of the refining of petroleum can be explained via the help of the following picture or diagram shown below. Petroleum Conservation Research Association suggests several fuel-saving initiatives and some of them are listed below. As such, maintain a steady and average speed in your car, make sure the tire pressure is right, maintain the condition of your car at all times, when not in service, switching off the vehicle's engines. Now we'll see few byproducts of petroleum. In our session of petroleum, we'll also be telling you the different components or byproducts of petroleum along with its uses. Kerosene. So this is used as a fuel in stoves, labs and more. Liquefied petroleum gas (LPG) used as a common fuel for home and industries as well. Petrol used as fuel for automobiles and as a solvent for dry cleaning as well. Bitumen used in making of paints, etc. Lubricating oil for lubrication. Paraffin wax used in ointments, candles, etc. Diesel used for heavy motor vehicles and generators as fuel. Now we'll discuss some questions. So, can you name the petroleum product used for surfacing roads? Bitumen is the petroleum product used for surfacing roads. Do you know the various constituents of petroleum and their uses? The different constituents of petroleum are petroleum gas in liquid form, petrol, kerosene fuel, diesel fuel. lubricating oil, paraffin wax, and bitumen. Each is a valued product and used for different activities, such as petroleum in liquid form is used as fuel for houses and industries. Petrol is used as a motor vehicle, aviation fuel, and solvent for dry cleaning. Kerosene is a popular constituent used as fuel for stoves, lamps, and for jet aircrafts. Diesel is used for running heavy motor vehicles and electric generators. Lubricating oil is used as lubrication. Paraffin wax in ointments, candles, and Vaseline. Bitumen is used for paint and road surfacing. Can you explain the process of formation of petroleum? Petroleum is a natural resource and was formed from organisms present in the sea. The bodies of these organisms sat at the bottom of the seabed and got covered by thick layers of sand and clay over millions of years. The high temperature and high pressure on the dead organisms led to the formation of petroleum and natural gas. Petroleum is a fuel defined as dark in color and oily in texture. The fuel contains various constituents and process of extracting these is called refining. Process of separation of different constituents from petroleum is called refining. Do you know why petroleum is called as black gold? Petroleum is also called black gold because when it is drilled from the ground in liquid form, it is in black in color, and this is called gold because of the impressive economic value the fuel possesses. Petroleum is expensive and thus priced as much as gold. And so this is referred to as black gold. Here, I have some interesting facts for you. Can we start? Petroleum can occur in liquid, gaseous, or solid forms. Natural gas is a liquid form of petroleum. The word petroleum comes from two Latin words, petra, which means rock or stone, and oleum, the word for oil. The first use of petroleum was by German mineralogists in year 1556. In its semi-solid form, petroleum is called bitumen and can be found in tar sands. The Sumerians is one of the earliest known human civilizations discovered petroleum on the banks of the Euphrates River and found a variety of uses for it, including road building and waterproofing. The ancient Egyptians used liquid forms of petroleum as a medicine, probably for dressing wounds, soothing pain also. Now, let's discuss few advantages of petroleum. It can be easily extracted. Technologies that are used for extracting oil beneath the planet's surface are well developed. It has high density. The average 1 kilogram of burnt oil can generate up to 10,000 kilocalories. It can be extracted at a low cost. It can easily be transported because petroleum is in liquid form. It is just easy to transport. It can be brought from extraction sites to power plants through the pipes or vehicles. It's easily available with good infrastructure for transport and use. Oil is widely distributed to almost every part of the globe. It has broad areas of application. It's a crucial element in industries. It can power up almost all types of vehicles, and with this is an obvious advantage of petroleum. It can support constant power use, and this is a powerful source of energy. Now I'll discuss some disadvantages of petroleum. So these resources are limited. So like any other natural fossil fuel, petroleum is a limited resource. It contributes to environmental pollution. Extracting and burning petroleum generates greenhouse gases that contribute to environmental pollution and consequently global warming. It produces hazardous substances. Production of petroleum, especially refining, produces harmful and toxic materials including plastic. It is a non-renewable form of energy. Once burned to generate electricity, petroleum cannot be replaced. Its transport can cause oil spills. If petroleum spills in bodies of water, adverse effects in marine life are expected. It sustains growth of terrorism and violence. Truth be told, oil is drilled in some of the worst dictatorships in the world. Despite the many advantages brought by petroleum, it still cannot be denied that it also leads to unfavorable consequences. So we need to be aware of these factors and take them as reminders that petroleum needs to be utilized wisely. Hope it's clear. Thank you.